Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new Companions episode 21. Wow, episode 21. That's amazing. We are at the end of 2019, which again is amazing in itself. I can't believe we've actually been here. I can't believe we've been for this long. I was going to say, but the actual podcast has been going for the best part of the year since about March and April. And yeah, this is show 21. So today we're basically going to talk about Elder Scrolls Online in 2019 and beyond, really. Like what we enjoyed, what we maybe haven't enjoyed so much, what we think could be improved upon, what we think doesn't even need to be touched by Zos or us as a community, maybe. But yeah, I've got two awesome guests as well, so I'll turn the music down. I have Tea the Khajiit, and I have Ninja614, and I thought I would get, I would start the show, this show specifically, with the people who were here at the start. You were in the first one. I think you guys were on the first one, weren't you?
We were.
With Kev Do It.
I'm gonna throw back.
Yeah.
With Kev Do It.
Yeah, that's right. He's not playing it as much anymore, and it's sometimes a little bit more difficult to have free guests on. So I didn't ask Kev Do It, but there's no reason for that. It's just because I think he's not as in ESO as much as he used to be, as in Fallout 76. So I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, he's busy breaking Fallout 76.
Yeah, breaking the things. People probably know who you are, who are definitely here live, and everyone who is here live, thank you for coming as well, and everyone who's listening on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever else you're listening as well. People are waving, and people are saying hello, so we hope you're very well. And you've had a good 2019. You've had a good holiday. You've had a good Christmas or holiday or whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating. It's been good for me, but these guys, I'm going to let them introduce themselves very, very quickly and tell us what they do, because you might be your first time here. You never know. To the Khajiit, what do you do in terms of Elder Scrolls Online?
I stream ESO as my main game, and I'm not like super fantastic at it, but I can do some mean picking of flowers and getting carried and all that. So
you can pick flowers, you get carried, and you're not good at the game. Wow. Okay, but we can find you at twitch.tv/
yes, I'm a pro casual, as Luna Roonies.
Okay, fair enough. And that's twitch.tv/ T_the_Khajiit. And all this information will be in the description as well. And then we have Ninja614. What are you doing? What are you doing in the world?
I stream ESO a lot as well. It's my main game. I classify myself as a variety streamer with a heavy focus on ESO.
That's a good focus. That's a good focus. There we go.
Yeah.
He's on there quite a lot. So these guys do it full time. I mean, you're full time guys. You're doing this a lot. You're doing a lot of the ESO.
Literally my job.
There you go. And so, two very good people to talk about this subject. Obviously, there's me as well. I have a lot of focus on the ESO, but just generally MMOs in general and just games now. I'm just a video game streamer. That's what I call myself. I'm just
gamer.
Yeah, I'm just a gamer. That's right. That's it. I'm just a gamer. Oh God,
gamer.
That whole
if you will.
MLG.
Yeah, I'll be at MLG Magic the Gathering soon arena. Don't worry, I'm there. Platinum.
We believe in you.
I believe. I'm getting there. The rage is selling. Anyway, oh God, it's selling. Just don't play control decks against me, please. Right. So, Elder Scrolls Online 2019. We start from the beginning maybe and talk about that. But we've got I've not really got a massive amount of notes for this show at all, because I'm just like, it's nice to just have a roundup of the year. You get those shows where like, oh, what's been going on? How's it been? Like, what's your favorite stuff been? Like, let's talk about quickly, like, maybe our highlights of the year. I don't know, T, if you want to go first. What would you say is like a big highlight for the year for you? It could be for your community. It could be in the game for ESO. It could be for the game itself. Like, what do you think was like a good thing that happened in ESO? It's really, really open question. Really open question.
For me, it's been meeting more of the community. Like, I got to meet a bunch of streamers and other community members at ZeniMax last spring, and then I went to my first convention ever at TwitchCon, and like we basically just hung out with the ESO fam the entire time, and it was so fun and fantastic. And I don't know, I think people tend to you'll hear like it's just a game, but like there's people behind it.
Is it just a game though?
Yeah, there's people behind it, and I think I realize it's super important to just keep that in mind and get face to face. I don't use webcam, so a lot of people I met, that was like the first time we ever saw each other, so it was pretty cool.
Okay, so you're talking about like community interaction and getting to know the people more and people.
Yeah, and I feel like that's MMO in general, honestly. Like, there's the gameplay aspect of it, but it's very, very social and about the people.
Okay, cool. I like that. That's good. Ninja.
Well, I mean, obviously the opportunities to hang out with other ESO content creators and players, that's great. It's been a couple of years now I've had the opportunity to do that. It's very special. It's really cool. It feels natural every time I've gotten together with ESO people in real life. It doesn't matter the different walks of life everybody comes from. There's this immediate common bond and a common interest, and so you just go right into having conversations and getting to know each other more on a personal level, in it, because you have this common ground from the start. So even though you've never maybe seen them in person, when you do get to, it's almost like hanging out with somebody you've already known for some time, because there's history there, there's inside jokes, there's knowledge. So it's really a special thing. And I've been in I've played MMOs since the EverQuest days religiously. I've been in a lot of gaming communities of all different types, and I've never quite experienced one as supportive and friendly and open to welcoming new players in and just being part of the whole experience. And it's been, so that's just an ongoing thing for me that I look forward to. And what's really kind of cool about TwitchCon, it's supposed to be about Twitch, but for the ESO community, it almost becomes like this party within the community, where you're there at Twitch, and sure, it's about Twitch, but it ends up being much more about ESO and hanging out with the ESO fam than it is Twitch at large, which is kind of cool.
100%.
So, and then of course in January I got invited last year to be on the ESO live after show with Rich and Gina and Jess and the Lore Seeker guys, Jibs and Cash. So that was very special. It felt like a huge honor to be chosen as a representative of the community to ask questions and get a sneak peek of the preview. That was a pinch me, is this my life kind of moment. That the night before we did the thing, we were in a hotel room with Rich and Gina, and we were drinking bourbon, and he was showing us preview like CGI movies and things on his laptop, and I was like, is this really freaking happening? This is amazing. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's been a crazy year. And then of course, this has been my favorite chapter so far. The everything about Elsewhere in terms of the content, from the dragons to the story to the zone to the world building and the storytelling, and then the continuation of the storytelling into Dragonhold and Southern Elsewhere, I thought was really cool that we had a follow-up story in that zone to kind of finish up what happened in Northern Elsewhere, all within the same year. I really, really thought that was a really cool way to do it, and I'm glad that it seems like, we don't know for sure yet, but it seems like they're kind of following that seasonal content, you know, a
Same
year's
premise.
worth of story told. I like that a lot. So, yeah, it's been an amazing year, and honestly, ZeniMax has some a tough act to follow, because I feel like elsewhere, from a release and from a hype and an excitement and just taking it to the next level, was really big. It was a big jump in that regard. So next year's content, I mean, how do you follow that up? You know, I'm looking forward to see what they come up with, but I don't envy to being in that position at all. For sure.
Yeah, that's difficult, right? So yeah, I mean, if especially from your own perspective, like in being involved in so much that you have been, and you know, enjoying it as much as you have, like it's like the excitement. It's almost like it's easier to be excited because if something has failed, almost to a degree, because then you can be like, well, it can't be that bad again, so I can't wait until it's actually going to be good. But if it's been really decent, then you're like, okay, we'll just stop Skyrim on you, maybe. I don't know. So that's not too bad. But again, like we're going to talk about that in a bit. But it should be interesting in the very least. But for me, highlight wise, I guess as well is just like, unfortunately, I haven't been able to go to many events. I started school in September, so I couldn't really go to TwitchCon. I couldn't really go to anything. I did go to PAX West though, which was very cool. There was Bert Ferkins was there, and there were some other guys. There was Starkrealm was there, and some other community peeps as well, as obviously Gina and Rich. So that was really good. So again, you know, I echo what you say about the community events and stuff. And I remember the TwitchCon previously, 2018, the ESO, the train. I've still got my Ninja614 band hanging over there. Sweet. on the door handle with all my badges from TwitchCon and everything else. And I didn't get to hang out with you guys that much because I was crazy busy, but it was definitely a presence that was known from many people. But yeah, so I encourage anyone that's listening to this, if you can get out to TwitchCon or any event, actually, like PAX or anything big like that, then, you know, get to it, because there'll probably be a massive presence of people there. It's definitely worth going to, even just for that, in all honesty. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, I mean, just like you say, you know, the whole year of knowing. The big highlight for me was literally January, knowing that there was actually stuff coming in the game I've just started to get into is really good. And that sounds ridiculous, right? Because you want to be like excited for something. MMOs is so difficult to say, we're going to do this, and this is when we're going to do it. Because how can you? Because anything can just go wrong. Like, so much can go wrong, and they've had some stuff go wrong, but they have delivered. In kind of the month, they've said they're going to put the stuff out there. Not many MMOs can do that, which is pretty good. Do you think they've done well in meeting the expectations maybe of the community or themselves in terms of delivering stuff on time? Anyone can answer that question, I guess.
Or
has it been on time? Has it been late? I mean,
the content schedule in terms of new zones and story and dungeons, that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, they have that quarterly delivery system ironed out, so it that seems to go pretty much without fail. Mm-hmm. But I think it is such an aggressive schedule that sometimes some pretty significant bugs sneak through. And if it's game breaking, they are pretty fast to get those patched. They don't let it. Typically, there's been a couple times like the Guild Trader debacle on EU, where hundreds of millions of gold was accrued and then subsequently laundered. They were a little slow on that one, and I to my knowledge, it's still kind of hanging out there as unresolved. So. There's some things here and there, but by and large, from a content perspective, I think they do, and for the most part, they've been the there's been some scope creep and a little bit of slippage on the rollout of the performance enhancement roadmap that they put out. That one, though, I'm not surprised. The issues that they're tackling are huge and are way more complicated than anybody, I think, realizes who's not in software development and hasn't dealt with enterprise class software of this caliber. You know what I mean? There's just a lot for them to get their arms around. And you're also dealing with a situation where it's almost impossible to test that on the PTS because you're never going to see the loads on the PTS that you're going to see on live. So certain problems when you're dealing with enterprise class level software and data like this, you don't ever get an opportunity to see the game breaking element until it is at a threshold that you can't reproduce in a test environment. So it and unfortunately it's one of those things where there's already some frustration that's been bubbling to the surface for some time that's kind of really hit the head because they were sort of victims of their own success, and that Elsewhere was a hugely popular launch and a lot of people came out for it and the servers literally got crushed. So the things that were problems were exacerbated and exposed on a level that hurts from a credibility and from a customer experience. If you're new to the game and you come in and you can't get into dungeons and things aren't working and you're getting disconnected and you can't even log in, I don't care how hyped you are, that's going to irritate you and you're just going to give up. So I think for the most part, they do a really good job of responding and quickly and doing it as fast as they can. Oftentimes, that's just not as fast as we want it because we want it now. We want it yesterday. We want them to snap their fingers and have it all better, and that's just not reality. So I think the core group of ESO players are pretty resilient to that and are willing to give patience, particularly with the increased level of communication they've been putting out around these things.
That's important.
We don't feel quite as in the dark as we used to. I still think they could improve that. But for the most part, now you have we have some players in the community that like to complain no matter what. They continue to play all the time and they log as many hours as anybody else, but they just won't shut up about it.
Yeah.
But that's every game. That's gamers. #gamers.
Those gamers. Those absolute gamers. Those massive gamers.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be a derogatory term. We're just gonna make it that way. It's fine. Okay. I understand what I'm looking at the performance improvements actually now as well. You're looking at like even Q4, which as Ninja said, they started doing that. T, did you have many problems yourself in 2019 with any systems or anything working, just to get your kind of side of it as well? Anything specifically?
Well, I used to love to PvP and I don't anymore at all.
I was gonna say, I don't. I was like excited to get to see you do some PvP, but it hasn't happened.
So I had a night where I'd go into Cyrodiil with my community, and it just ended up getting too frustrating for everybody. Lots of disconnects, and we'd get going, and then one of our friends would drop off, and you don't want to just leave them out there. Especially a lot of them are new to PvP, and so I ended up feeling like it was getting a little too negative, and I didn't want their experience with PvP to be colored by like, oh, well, I went in and I couldn't do anything. So for me, I've been trying to be patient and hold out until things get better. I like Cyrodiil. I know a lot of people do Battlegrounds, but Cyrodiil is ridiculous and stupid, and I like running around and trolling people. And it's a really unpredictable beast. But like I said, hopefully next year I can get back into it. I would be really happy if I could. There's been a couple of things that have popped up when I've been streaming, for example.
Yeah.
We're
gonna balance this out with the good
like,
stuff. Don't worry, it's okay.
Yeah.
So we're just being honest. It's all
I'd
right.
rather get this stuff out of the way.
Oh no, it's okay.
There's been a couple of things like just not very good. Like really long load times, not very good frame rates. It can get a little bit frustrating. But for the most part, I feel like it end up not running into as many problems as some other players. But I don't do as much of the like super hardcore endgame content anymore either. Like I've been not really doing like super hard fet dungeons. If I was in one of those dungeons for hours and a pool that was gonna totally go right got borked by a glitch or something, I'd probably be pretty angry.
Yeah.
and I've seen clips and stuff. There was one time we had to drop a vet Black Rose prison run because I mean it was so desynced we couldn't figure out where anything was basically.
Okay.
It was very weird. But I think for most players, like if you're just doing some of the more casual content, they're probably not running into as many issues in general as like if you're doing the crazy zillion particles on the screen stuff like in trials. But
yeah,
you also don't want to make life hard for the players who are going out of their way to do your really really high-end content either, because that'll just discourage more people from trying, kind of like Cyrodiil. So I hope next year's all that stuff gets sorted out. I don't even know how much of it's in ZeniMax's hands, like
how much they're actually able to change these things.
Yeah, so a lot of people like use the word ZeniMax as like one giant, entity. But a lot of the people working on this stuff, they have no control over like what's going on with the servers or like some of the programs that are working things, and they do care, and it's kind of sad people don't I guess give them credit for that part.
I guess that's the thing at the end of the day, right? I mean, there's going to be a very small amount of people in terms of the population that play the game that actually have any interaction, that actually know them in the same way that we do, I guess in our interaction as partners or as stream team members with them and actually going to events and meeting them. And then just Twitch, if you narrow that down to what the average is, about 1k or so on Twitch, when not drops are on 1 to 2k, depending on who's on and if their views are coming from a website. Like people are actually on Twitch interacting. It's probably about 1,000, I guess. Maybe that number obviously goes up and down. And then you've got the amount of people that actually playing. You've got 13 million accounts or whatever it is. The amount of people that are actually playing the game, and then have the interaction that we do. Obviously, we know, and this podcast is a way to, get that message out. Give a bit. Obviously, they give a crap about their game. This is their job. This is their livelihood. Like. It's a creative process. They obviously love what they do, but like you say, there's limitations on what they can do. And I think I've read on the forums. I know Rich. I think in his statement of like the year or like how things are going and stuff. He clearly communicated his own frustrations and frustrations to the team and not being able to work some things out quickly or maybe as well as they maybe would have hoped, and I think that's a good, that's honest. That's just honest stuff. It's not, they're not bullshitting about that kind of thing. They're just like, we want this to be where it a place where at this place, but we're trying really hard and it's been difficult. And I think as long as they keep pumping out that communication, it's good, and people are going to get frustrated. But like Ninja said as well, those people end up staying most of the time anyway because they just know the game's good and they want to stay for these reasons. And But yeah, the Q4 2019 was it the performance improvements timeline, which was released in July. Was memory management overhaul, behind the scenes combat ability improvements. So that's going to be ongoing till next year, obviously. And then a complete rewrite of the looking for group system. I don't know if that has that fully happened.
It has, but it's having some bugs. So
Ninja's
the rewrite happened.
You gotta go watch the VOD for Ninja's faces then.
but it's got a few bugs, yeah. So they're getting that sorted. But
like
I mean,
around the Witches Festival time, and then like the server borked. And then they tried to fix it, and then the Undaunted event came, and EU like immediately went down, and then NA went down, and then they pulled it, and they were like, "We're gonna try and fix it, and I guess we'll know when it's fixed when Undaunted event eventually eventually arrives." That they're holding off until it's okay.
It does make me wonder whether or not, because of those delays and things that aren't working so well at the moment, whether or not that will push like the Q1 and Q2 work further down the line, or if it's the same teams, or if teams kind of cross over. Because I don't know if the same team works on one thing and then they cross over to like, you know, frame rate improvements and like, you know, faster loading art fixtures and characters, which is going to be Q1, along with like patching overhaul and frame rate and server optimization, stability, and it just seems like there's a lot to do. They've got a big list of stuff they want to do, and then they've got the game and like everything that's got to go into keeping this live service going. I'm like, I'm hyped for them.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, I think so. I think it goes to what Ninja said earlier. You know, they've got a lot to kind of live up to, but it's not just the content, is it, that they're releasing? It's the actual, like, improving the basic stability of the game. Like, they're giving themselves a lot to do. And I'm like, and it sounds, I don't know if this sounds, obviously they need to keep people in Cyrodiil happy in other places, but it felt like dungeons and PvP worked a lot better before I kind of went down the line and touching it. And I'm just wondering, you know, I mean, they have to get this done at some point in time, right? I mean, I don't know, like, what can you do? I don't know.
Well, the rewrite is done for the looking for groups. So now it's about optimizing and fixing bugs, right? Which is not the same as having to redesign a important system from the ground up.
True.
And you know, the goal was to take the looking for group system and optimize it in a way. And while you're doing that, speaking as a software developer myself, whenever you have a chance to go back and revisit existing systems, one of the things that you'll do as a developer is find ways to further break out and create objects and classes that allows you to make tweaks and changes and adjustments in the future without having to minimize the amount of hard-coded stuff that's in there and create more of a system that allows you to have more flexibility in the future to make adjustments. So I think we can check off that the looking for group rewrite has been completed. It's just that, like I was talking about earlier, when you have a system that works fine in a PTS environment and even in a closed, artificial load in order to try and test these things, you don't ever find out where your blind spots are or where the holes are or where there's still some sort of hook into another system that now is your bottleneck that you didn't realize was going to be such a problem until you have an actual live population hitting it from all these different angles. So I think that they fully expect that any of these systems that they put out there's going to be a period of, okay, we didn't see that coming. Now we've got to, quickly adjust it. So the project manager or whoever's in charge of that team, their job is going to be rough for the next 18 months as they play the gatekeeper of here are the fires, which fire is the most dangerous right now. You know what I mean? So and that's, Rich is talking about, like, you made the point earlier. He is fine with venting your frustration. He totally gets it. He understands. I've had some conversations with him in person about how he's like, just don't call us lazy. Don't call us stupid and lazy, because that is the furthest thing from the truth, and it is so
Absolutely.
demoralizing and offensive to our team, who is really busting their ass to try and
Especially
do all
the
the
don't
things.
care comments.
Yeah,
Like, they clearly
they
don't
Yeah.
care.
Right,
Like,
right.
what
Which
the
is such.
fuck?
Like, come on.
Yeah, that's
How
what
can they
pisses him
not
off more than
care?
anything, because he's all like, you know what, I get it, you're frustrated, the games, we're frustrated too, but to call my team lazy, to call this group of people like, to say they don't care is just factually incorrect, and it's mean and shitty on top of it. So that's they know it. They've got an aggressive content schedule. There's no other MMO out there that's putting out content at the speed that they do. They've got a relatively small team for the size of the game that this is. I hope they continue to work towards expanding that team to give them more resources to work on these things. And then more importantly, I've also had some conversations. I've talked to several of the devs over there, and I said, there's a real problem in the gaming world, the AAA development culture, is this idea of crunch and this idea of working people literally to death, destroying their soul, working them to death. And ZeniMax Online Studios, from what I can see, from what I have access, from my window that I can see, and from the conversations I've had one-on-one with devs, is that they're actually really good about allowing the devs to have time off, to have a good work-life balance, to not crush their will to live. And honestly, in my case, if I have to wait a little bit longer for some of these things to happen, for some of these things to be fixed, for some of these things to come to life, so that the teams that are working on my most favorite game are able to live a good life while they're working on it, I'm happy to do that. If the trade-off is to get these things faster and better and more stable and less bugs, is that the people that are working on this get worked to death, literally just get used up and discarded when they're fried, then I'll take the wait. I'll take the frustrations and the wait. Thank you very much. These are human beings that are literally, that care very much about the game that we play.
Yeah.
And they're busting their ass. So keep that in mind when you're ranting and raving about what's pissing you off. Is these are human beings, just like you, who do the same things that you do and are trying to do a great job for us. So we should probably, not saying that we should just say it's fine that this shit's broken, but we don't attack them as humans and say that they're just,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, it's important that people, it's just like using your brain. People, when they get angry, they lash out and they say stuff which is just a bit ridiculous, and it's all frustration, and it's just their anger pouring out in various interesting and creative ways, I will say.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, I'm trying to be positive. This is the thing. I mean, if anyone remembers, I am literally started grad school in September, and I am training in mental health therapy and mental health counseling. Sorry, and it's like switching everything over to try and make it in some kind of positive way, but also don't be a dick, And it's just there is just that. These are real people with real lives, like Ninja says, and it's clearly like even someone said they don't care about PvP. They do care about PvP, but there's a lot to do, and it's not only just bugs and things that aren't working, but they've got a different way that they do things. Elder Scrolls is, they're in keeping with the lore and the way they do things. There's loads of stuff. We had a 4-hour podcast the last show talking about everything in PvP that is just not working well or not good or we don't like, but then all the stuff we do like. But then, there are limitations within this, and, you kind of play what you enjoy at the end of the day, but being respectful is quite an important thing to do. I think, one thing for me personally that I wasn't a massive fan of in 2019, and it's not really that much of a big thing, and you don't have, and again, it's something that I don't have to do, but I still ended up doing, was kind of the event ticket stuff. It really I loved the idea of the mount. Like they're getting these like rewards, like these like getting a new mount that maybe other people don't get because they're not logging in that much and they're not doing daily stuff. Was pretty cool, and like, you know, I can have this mount, and I just got the latest one, the snow one, and it's quite cool. But they always seemed like there was something I had to log into, and I have to. Like, I felt oddly not pressured, but like I felt like I had to get. And it wasn't necessarily something that I enjoyed doing, but the thing I wanted to get was really cool. Like the reward was awesome. Like I love that they're bringing these things into the game. You don't have to pay for everything that's new. And I still think the gem system, I just so everyone knows, I think that crates and RNG rewards are the spawn of Satan. I hate them. I just have always hated them. I'm a person where I like to pay. I like to know what I'm getting when I pay for it. And there's a lot of mental health and addiction issues behind loot crates that is still going on around the world in different countries, and they're banned in different places and whatnot. But like, and if you want to go and do that, that's fine. And sometimes I do when people gift them to me, and that's fine as well. But in terms of just like the events and stuff like that, I do think that mount is great. I do wonder about events, and I wonder about your opinions on this. So I do want to ask you both very quickly, because it's been a year, and actually the chat as well. I would love to know your opinions. And this is no slant on. This is not me insulting devs. This is not me insulting the game. It's just a personal opinion, and people may have varying opinions about them. The Indrik stuff specifically, but did you guys? I'll go to T first because I'm not sure how much you guys have done this as well. I assume you have. Have you enjoyed these event ticket events? Do you like the premise of them? And do you think that what we do to get the tickets is fun? And have you enjoyed it? And there's no right or wrong answer for this. And chat, I would love you to also, while you're live listening and watching this, what you think about it as well. But T, let me know. What do you reckon?
I'm sorry. I just got a call.
Oh, right.
I'm kind of listening with one of my headphones on.
It's okay.
You're talking about event tickets.
The event tickets. So the actual like I was saying that I like the reward. I don't necessarily like what I have to do to get the tickets. Even if it's short and really easy, maybe, or you know, how do you think these events are? Is there too many? Is there not enough? Like your general feelings. You can be as honest as you like.
I feel like they could maybe get a little bit more creative with some of the events. Like right now, it's just like go do a daily, and I get that. It makes it very easy for them to implement the events. But like the dragon slaying charity thing, I thought that was fantastic. That was a nice little like extra something.
Oh yeah,
the community loved it. And you also got a lot of good stuff from doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it doesn't always feel that way with the majority of the events. I think I really like New Life, actually. I didn't get to do that much this year, but it's one of my more favorite events. I really don't like the Jester Festival quests, personally. They feel a little bit... I don't know. I don't know how to put them. They're just a little bit long-winded.
Which one? Sorry.
If there was the Jester Festival.
Oh
ones,
right, okay, yeah.
But I think if you gave people a reason to go do some different type of content, and kind of mix it up a little bit, not just like go do this. I think people would love it a little bit more than they do now. Now it's just kind of like get your tickets and you're done. And it feels more like a grind than like actually enjoying an event, if that makes sense.
Okay. Ninja, how do you feel?
I have two hats that I wear with this particular one. If I put on my gamer hat, they are endless and tedious and repetitive, and they're the same shit every year. And when you've been playing this game since beta, it just gets really old. And the whole Indrik thing, if you have to pull out like infographics and matrices to figure out how to do it, like it's so much.
Streamers do have commands for that now. Yeah, they'll go through it for 10 minutes.
But if I put on my content creator hat, I know, and it's got like links and videos you have to watch.
Yeah.
You have to
if I literally destroy the Matrix,
you're right. You have to play this edutainment game to learn how to do the thing. So,
Rubik's Cube.
It's very. Yeah, I would like them to be. It would be nice if there was some variation every year. I realize though they already have an aggressive content schedule as it is, and these things are fun little things to just throw in a little boon. But as a result, these events, oftentimes the quests feel very go here, fetch this, do that. Very, very bland, very old school MMO, very boring as fuck. Once you've done it a billion times, you're completely
that's exactly it. Because the ESO in the game is not like that.
At all.
If you do the events, they are.
Yeah, they're like, level 1 through 5 MMO, like go smash some rats, pick up the thing and bring it back. Now go over there and pick up this and take it over there
rats
and come back
instead of balls.
Whatever. Pick a spiders, rats, pigs. Any
kind of basic.
It's always
basic creature.
So, but when I put on my content creator hat, as a content creator who's trying to come up with something to do every day for hours at a time, some of these menial, repetitive things like surveys and the new life stuff, it's a way for me to not have to have focus face on. I can pay very close attention to chat. I'm doing something in the game that is working towards something.
Mm-hmm.
So from a selfish content creator perspective, I don't mind them just because, well, it took me, I did a 12-hour stream. I have 18 tunes. I got through 9 of them, doing all of the new life quests on I was ambitious and I thought maybe I could get through all 18 in a 12-hour stream. Not even close. I got like through 9. But
really?
I had 9 hours of doing new life quests and we just chatted the entire time for 12 hours.
Well, that's good.
And it was, what I mean? Yeah. So like, and I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to like it was just, it was like fire up the stream and go and do new life quests for 12 hours, which if you didn't have that interaction. So I was thoroughly entertained because we're joking, we're talking about life stuff, we're talking about the state of the game, we're goofing off, we're
talking about the fact that we're doing the life quest for 9 hours.
Right, exactly. Right. So it was like this wonderful 12-hour stream that had really the focus was about us hanging out and having a conversation more than it was what I was doing in the video game. So I love those opportunities because so many things in the game require my rapt attention, which means that I have to ignore chat for long periods of time, and I don't like that as much. Even though I'm doing something cool in the game, I feel like for me, the interaction that I'm having with my community at any given time is ultimately the joy that I get out of this whole ordeal of what I'm doing, of why I do it, right? So it's one of those things where if you weren't a streamer and you didn't have these kinds of unique situations that pertain to streaming, doing this by yourself with, maybe in Discord, probably not endlessly every single day, these repetitive, really lame, not really interesting quests, really aren't giving you any sort of, even if the quests are really great, if you have to do 9 of them on multiple tunes every single day in order to get all of the things you need to unlock whatever it is you're after, it's boring as hell. Like that's not fun. And nobody can say that it is after the first couple times you've done it. So I realized
nobody's going to do it.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't. So,
I mean, I stream and I didn't even do it. I just did my 2 quests. I killed a monster and I did the quest for new life, and that was it. I don't do stuff that I don't really care about.
Yeah.
And
That's mostly
well, I wanted
do.
the Skull Explorer outfit because Skyrim's coming, and it's literally like, hey, we're giving you this really cool, like Skyrim Nordic looking, outfit for you to go explore Skyrim. It's like it. So I wanted to have all of that stuff to make a tune that's because I like to pick a tune and make sure they're like geared out and fashion per second, ready to go for a new chapter. And that's the one I'm going to do all of the story on with that particular character, sort of like a quasi role play sort of vibe.
Wait,
thing
you're
going
to play a Nord?
Probably, yeah.
Okay,
I might even race change one of my tunes.
End cool.
Yeah.
End cool.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Traitor.
Cold for Argonians.
What the hell is going on? I'm going with my Argonian. I'm just going to make him look like a Nord.
I
okay.
What
are you doing?
I don't just play Argonians, Jebro. I love them, but I don't.
614 community, come together. Where are you?
But we all know there's one race that you won't find on any of my tunes. Period. I don't even need to say it. Y'all know it. You're already thinking. You already thought the word in your head. You already know. So the rest, but I play all the rest of the races, and they're glorious. They're wonderful.
So it doesn't play Khajiits then?
Except, no, I play Khajiits.
Wait, which one do you not play?
Oh, come on, Jebro. No, expose. Jebro doesn't watch my stream chat.
I do watch your stream.
Jebro doesn't watch my stream. He doesn't know.
Just Imperial? Was it really? I've never been there when you've said that. I'm terrible.
How could you not? It's a constant. I banned the word.
Oh,
it's auto-modded
you actually
in my chat.
What?
It really is.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember the like teasing on Twitter with like Ranger and stuff, but I didn't know it was actually a thing. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Bro, down with the Imperials.
Okay, all right then. Oh, I don't care about anyone else. I'm just like, I like the Nords and I like the Argonians.
I love the Nords. Viking stuff. I mean, I love that shit. The only reason why I didn't have Nords in the past is because I'm sort of a quasi try hard where I do min-maxing generally speaking, and Nords traditionally up until this year have had the worst passes in the game. It was almost like not having any passes at all. They were so bad. Now they're pretty good. So I'm much more interested in having some Nord characters because now I feel like their passives are useful. I can actually work them into a build and take advantage of them versus before they literally were just a joke.
Poor Nords have had it rough for a lot of ESO's
It's true.
life.
But now they play. Yeah, I might make I'm not sure if I'll make a new one, but I might take my Dragon Knight through. Could do that actually. Still got to do. I'm just
Lala, it's because Skyrim belongs to the Nords. That's the answer. Skyrim belongs to the Nords.
Magic Khajiits had it
Imperials
rough,
weren't even supposed to be playable from the beginning because they were the bad guys in the game.
Yeah,
and then
they always are.
Threw all the Imperial players a bone.
It's true. Oh yeah, they did have the passive. Passive was this year, wasn't it? Like the passive changes. Yeah. Jesus.
Yep,
The year game
Early
really
this year.
has. So that was another big thing that got changed. And we had to stream about that. It was part of a stream. Sorry, a show. Okay, so that was another big thing. Okay, so event tickets wise, or events generally, I think I'm from chat as well. Other than like what T said about the dragon thing, which was quite cool because you would kind of donating money to charity passively, in a way, by killing a dragon, and which was very cool. I thought that was cool. I think I do really feel like they could, if they're gonna do the tickets thing, they could just make something new. I mean, with all the stuff that's new like with all the different, you've got the DLCs, you've got the dungeons, you've got the chapter. They're making so much new stuff. I just don't know if they have the time to do it. Doesn't feel like they do, and they would be kind of screwing themselves over a little bit if they did. But it is a little bit like old now. I'm just literally like, I know after this podcast, the first thing I'm going to do is going to go and get some things done on that, and I'm like, I want to because I want the things. I want the things, but I want to enjoy doing the thing. I had this conversation during our subathon on the weekend about dailies, and I think I made a comment. I'm not going to repeat what I said, and it was just generally the person who invented dailies in MMOs and what they should probably do with their life. It was like, why did you do this? Rep grinds and all that kind of stuff. But then, it's part of MMOs, and there is some mundane stuff about it, because an MMO is like having a second life or having a main life for some people. And you got to go with the rough with the smooth. You got to do the mundane stuff sometimes, because that's kind of what life is like. So maybe they're trying to really bring that real life experience out in MMORPGs. I don't know. But yeah, I do think something could be done differently with that. But saying that I just always wanted to talk briefly about events and the tickets and stuff, and I've never really had the chance to bring it up, and I thought end of year be a good time to do it.
Yeah.
But I do like the rewards. I think the pages, like the motif pages are good. The mount's pretty cool. And it's an extra thing I've got that maybe that other person doesn't have because they didn't want to get bored off their mind. And I think there is some pretty good stuff that comes out of it. I mean, comparing that to then the DLCs that we've had and being a bit more positive, because I just wanted to kind of get some of the more
Yeah, but isn't that good game design to say, hey, here's this really cool thing. If you're willing to get bored out of your mind for days on end, you can get this cool thing.
I know.
Is that like what the?
I mean, if we're being critical, no.
Right?
I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world. I mean, if we're being critical, I'm trying to be nice as I possibly can here, mate. You've got to throw me a fucking bone. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, you've both said it in various ways. It's like, no, I say this on my stream all the time. Like, if it's not fun, I'm probably not going to do it. But I'm still got the mount. Yeah. I still went and got the mount, and it's like,
yeah,
god damn it! And thank God it didn't take long to get the tickets. Like T said, it literally. I'll go and kill the boss in the delve that's right near the impresario, and then I'll go and do a new life quest, and that'll be it. Like, because I can't repeat them.
I'm picky about which new life quests I do too. If I see one I don't like, I'm like, nope.
Oh really?
I'm gonna quit it, and I'm gonna go get one I like. I like the one where you go dance around.
Yeah.
That's
and
my favorite one.
And the fire breathing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the alternative though is to not have events, I'll take the boring shit.
Yeah.
We didn't have events for a long time. I remember when we were like, it was around Halloween. Everyone's like, oh boy, I can't wait to see what Elder Scrolls Online is going to do for the very first holiday event. And they were like, I think their reply was something like, well, you can make your own events. And well, you know what? The RP community totally did, but we still wanted an in-game event.
Amazing.
and it was really sad. And I
screw you, do you right,
kids?
I'm not even kidding. Well, we did. We actually did have a Halloween event, but not everybody role plays. So there's a bunch of people who are like, oh, I guess there's nothing to do for Halloween. That's fine. And when the Witches Festival first came out, everyone was just like super pumped. They're like, oh my gosh, you get these little things that you open and you have to collect so many. And I still hated collecting that many, but you know what? At least we got something out of it instead of nothing. The one thing I do wish is that we had decorations, because I've been playing Final Fantasy 14, and everything, all the cities are decked out and adorable in that game for holidays and events and stuff. They have cute little snowmen.
Yeah, even WoW does that. At least the capital cities are all like decked out with cool stuff,
Is this a lore thing? Is this like an Elder Scrolls thing where they're just very strict about this kind of stuff? I still feel like that's a big thing. Like, that's a big thing that holds. I'm not sure whether or not it holds.
These are all like in-game holidays.
But if you're gonna do an in-game holiday, it stands to reason that there would be some decorations that are lore friendly to the event.
Mm-hmm.
In the
a lot of these
environment.
Events are not new. They're from the Elder Scrolls series. So I feel like even if it's not traditional, like Santa hats and things like that, I don't need do that.
Are you sure you don't need a
there's,
Santa's hat,
could
T?
be-
Are you sure?
I mean, okay,
You
maybe a
needed
little bit.
mittens, didn't you?
Yes, my little paws are cold. Okay, so as long as there's some sort of like lore friendly
Yeah.
decorations, I think that'd be really kind of neat. I don't know
Yeah.
what the technical bits, but other games do it. I think it'd be neat if it's just one day during the Witches Festival we got surprised and there was like just cute little
Stuff.
decorations everywhere.
Yeah.
Stuff, stuff.
Yeah. Like if you're going to Stone Falls to do your little jiggy with it in the various, it seems like there would be some
What
sort
quest
of
was
new life.
that? Oh, yes, I'll go with that. Okay.
You know, where there's
Lava foot stomp.
yeah, where it seems to reason that there would be some sort of festive decor. It could still be lore friendly, but it feels like, you know, everybody's supposed to be dancing and celebrating new life. There should be some new life decorations. That's normal.
All they have is like some dancers that never leave. Like they're there all year round.
They just stand there and then they'll clap and turn around and hop and then they'll go woohoo for you.
They are
when
kind
you
of
come to
semi-naked,
dance.
though, at least. I guess there is that.
They have really cute hats on, and that's their only point of existence is to clap for you when you.
Right. Yeah.
At least. Oh, dear. Sorry, I just said. Okay. Well, yeah, I can agree. I can agree. Just wonder about the whole law thing, but I do agree that there's sometimes I think they restrict themselves maybe in some regard, and I think that kind of goes into game modes at times as well. But anyway, another conversation. But I don't know.
It's undoubtedly a byproduct of the aggressive content schedule and the team size of the team that they have. I mean, I don't think it has anything. It's not like they're saying we don't want to do this fun thing. That's dumb.
Yeah.
You know, it's more like how would they fit it in?
They have to manage where to put their resources.
Yeah, no, they do exactly, because it is like, I mean, like we've all had various conversations. I don't think I'm breaking NDA because it's quite open conversations that they had with community members. They're just like honest. They're honest as anything. If any of you guys in chat had a conversation, they'd just be like, "Yeah, this is a lot of fucking work. This is a lot of work. Like we're tired, but we're doing it, and we can do it. And the team's working their asses off, and." You know, it was more maybe, you know, more than they, I don't know if it's more than they bargained for, but maybe, but like doing everything, but they're still doing it. They're still meeting it, meeting the deadlines for everything. I mean, I can, you know, ring off a ton of MMOs or games or that have failed in the last year to do this kind of stuff. I mean, you know, AAA titles like Anthem is just an absolute nightmare. And
I think we all take it for granted just what an accomplishment it is that every quarter there's new content coming out.
Yeah. And it's being good. Like, I mean, I can honestly say at the moment, like I'm still stuck. I'm stuck a little bit with ESO on where I am personally with the game. But like when I'm still doing the show, I still love, you know, Elder Scrolls, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing at the moment. I find it, I just like to play a lot of different stuff. Just with what I do, but it's.
I have so many games I'm playing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like you,
and I just got added a new one yesterday or a couple days ago that I didn't even know existed, and it's so good. Now I'm like, oh my god,
exactly.
There's not enough time.
There's a lot of people making good stuff out there, and you know, especially as you start. You want to get out there and do a bit more stuff, you know, and as content creators, sometimes we have to kind of do. Sometimes we have to do the things, you know, to say, "Hi, I'm still here, but I'm going over to do this stuff as well." And you know, that's just another conversation. Probably do a podcast about that. Oh God, Ninja's gone.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. He says he's off. He's online. He probably went to go play other games.
Wow.
He's like, this game was so good.
He's like, you know what? I'm gonna do that right now.
That's so weird. The camera didn't mess up. Okay.
She disappeared like a ninja, indeed.
Right. Well, welcome.
Living up to the name.
This is Tea with Tea the Khajiit. How you doing, Tea? You good? And you're with an English person as well, so that's actually quite fitting. I've got
Yeah, there you go. It's all themed.
Yeah, it's true. I've got PG tips. I've got green tea. I've got all the stuff. I think it's coming.
Oh no.
Back. It'll be all right. We'll continue. It's fine. I'm going to just smash these questions over to Tea now. I was like, yeah, well, there you go.
Am I back?
Yay!
Yeah, there you go. It didn't. That was weird though. The cameras didn't mess up or anything.
Well,
You're here.
My internet was sending, but I was receiving 0 megabits per second. So I could see that I was broadcasting, but I could not. The stream died. I couldn't hear you guys anymore.
Weird.
That was weird.
Okay.
Yeah, very weird.
The internet monsters. We'll do the tea stuff later. Tea, it's all right. Okay, so events. Okay, how long are we into this? About an hour. Okay, so is there anything else to get the kind of stuff maybe you didn't enjoy? I mean, is there anything you didn't enjoy this year that you feel like? I'm not saying that everything's been bad this year. Everything's been fantastic with the game this year. Just in case you feel like I'm on a train with this, anyone listening or watching, it's because I want to say that get onto the stuff where we're just like, yeah, this was amazing, and like because we're always so positive. And I'm just like, maybe it's just a year in review kind of thing. And the things we've talked about not being so great haven't really been that bad. I mean, well, other than the game breaking stuff, which is not that great, unfortunately. But is there anything else
at the beginning, we talked about how amazing the content was and the chapter and what a follow-up next year is going to be like. It's a tall order to fill in terms of expectation comparison.
True.
Overall, I'm very pleased. Yeah, a brand new class that I absolutely love. Before Necromancer, if you asked me what my favorite class was, I would say whatever character I'm playing right now. Where now I can say that Necromancer's pretty much. I really enjoy my Necromancer a lot.
Oh, nice.
But there were 2 controversial balance patches this year that I've beat this dead horse so many times in my own chat about it, so I'm going to be brief. But
it's the TLDR, as they say.
Yeah, I recognize that what they're trying to do is get their arms around basically 5 years of ad hoc changes that had no real strategic plan in place. And that created just everything is all over the place. And so in order to get their arms around it, they're trying to rein things in and organize skills by types, into classes to say, like, this is one type of skill, this is another type of skill. And based on that, it has consistent results, values, and returns, so no matter what class you're playing, if you're using this style of skill, then these are the baselines. And then later work in class flavor by saying, okay, so now we can say, all right, well, so this is the baseline, but because you are X, you have this Z component added to that class of skill, for instance. I just feel like that consistency change could have happened without the nerfs. My biggest gripe about the whole thing was that in addition to doing these balance changes in terms of making things consistent, they nerfed the hell out of a lot of skills. And that has, from my perspective as a content creator who is trying to work very hard to show the way to newer players and less skilled players and less experienced players that, look, you can do the harder content and here's a way to do that. I haven't felt that way for most of the year after these patches came in place, because somebody who's pretty accomplished and competent in the game, have been struggling to get through a lot of this content. How am I going to ask somebody who's still learning how to get through this content, right? So, because I haven't figured out a way to deal with these nerfs in a way that is without going full on meta jockey and 100%, like literally causing carpal tunnel in my hands. By the end of a stream, my hands hurt so bad, my performances, I've lost 10 to 30,000, anywhere between 10 and 30,000 DPS depending on the class I'm playing, because I just can't make my hands move that fast anymore. So I've had these conversations with the devs multiple times. I've expressed my concerns, my fears, my hopes and dreams about this whole thing.
And then they're like, dude, go get therapy. This is not the place. And that's why I'm here,
Like,
dude. You know,
like,
I'm here for you, man. I'm going to be
sir,
literally
this is a Wendy's.
Oh,
But yeah, so I feel heard, and I I was like, I've been telling my community, I'm like, look guys, I feel you, because my community has been up in arms about it, and I know that the ESO community as a whole has been up in arms about it. So I feel like our gripes, concerns, and frustrations have been heard by the devs. So I'm looking forward to see how things play out over the next few quarters as they further realize, because the team they have in place, I have an enormous amount of respect for, and I get what they're trying to do. And so I'm trying to just stay patient with it in the meantime, and enjoy the game as it is now, the way that it is, and just kind of, like T's not going into Cyrodiil these days. I also am not going into Cyrodiil these days, because the performance issues need to be addressed. And there's certain content. I'm only rating one night a week, and as long as that particular rating group stays relatively casual about it, if they don't go too aggressive on the trying to start push for scores and trying to add all of the hard modes and shit, and it starts to become this like, we got to be focused and serious all the time thing, I will continue to do that. But I am not in a position to want to do the most difficult in the game right now with the way that the skills and the balance is, because it's just too hectic, stressful, and not fun for me. And it should be challenging, but it shouldn't be an exercise in frustration and anger, I think, to get through it, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
I'm just kind of in a all right, cool. There's a lot of cool. The game is huge. There's a lot of stuff to do in it. There's different ways that you can enjoy it. The community is fantastic. So I've just kind of gone more into a casual phase right now, and just not worrying about meta, not worrying about doing the harder stuff. Getting the base veteran content done, and then wait until to see what happens next. So that's that's the TLDR. It goes much more deeper and nuanced than that, but yeah, ultimately that's been probably, of all of the little gripes and little things that we were kind of joking about, that's the one thing that has really frustrated me this year. Is it was we had these huge bright spots over here of just, wow, this game is amazing, this content's great, but then there's this huge mar on it that has really just crushed enthusiasm and hype shortly after the hype had hit a crescendo, and that sucks. That really sucks.
That's fair enough, though. I appreciate the honesty with that, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like, it's not. I mean, that's just an honest opinion. It's not slating anyone or saying this is awful and blah blah blah. I hate life. It's just the honest feedback and useful feedback. Really, to be fair. I mean. T, were you about to say something? You kind of sounded like you agreed to a point. Or...
I just really loved the story that they told this year.
Mm-hmm.
Both
Same.
the chapter and
Oh, it's mind-blowingly epic.
The DLC.
It was bloody
So
awesome.
It was like, and then the fact that they added that, like Ninja mentioned way earlier in the stream, the quest after you completed all of the Elsewhere content to finish up the story. Like that was, everyone kept telling me there was more, and I was like, can I, should I continue on? They're like, no, it's long. And I was surprised by that. I thought it was just going to be like a quest.
Right.
Well, it's a DLC long, wasn't it?
It was basically a chunk of the DLC quest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was really well done. It was very cinematic. That was something that a lot of people were very critical about on ESO for a very long time. And I feel like they've completely mastered how to like move your attention around areas while you're doing combat. And I hated that there were so many people being negative about the game when all this amazing stuff was, they're like, so for the casuals don't want to, they just care about the quest and the gameplay. Well, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Enjoy the quest and the story.
Because it's really good.
It is very good, and I highly recommend to everyone, if you haven't done it yet, please listen to the quest because the voice acting is really crazy good. Don't rush through it. Like, actually just sit down and enjoy it for what it is, and you'll probably really enjoy doing questing even if it's not your thing. It's just a really good story.
It was yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, I think I did assume it had ended, and then I think I saw a quest in my quest log, and I was like, what? Okay, I mean, maybe this is going to carry on next year, and I was like, okay, now we're going to do this. We're going to get this done. Like, I'm trying not to spoil it. But like, it wasn't an expectation I had, and I think the mechanic, and I'm not sure if any. I mean, I know MMOs do this. I know single player games do this. So you can press a button sometimes, and it says, it starts to focus your attention on something specific. It feels like a very single player almost kind of experience sometimes with the quests.
It is.
Where it literally forces you, like you say.
I also recommend, as tempting as it is, don't quest with friends. This is a big thing.
Don't play MMOs with friends, guys.
They tried really hard to make questing with friends very viable. The problem is, if you're in the middle of a conversation and the other person clicks through it, it ends the conversation if there's a prompt after that. And so you're like, wait, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
And it can even happen if you're not in group with somebody. It's ridiculous. So I tend to hang around until other people leave, just in case, because I really hate missing dialogue.
That's interesting.
It's also why I oftentimes won't do questing on stream, because I want to just shut everything else out and have the story, without being distracted by chat.
Like that.
Yeah. But this
my
time
chat loves it. Like, they go crazy. They're like, get involved.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
well, it was so good this time around that I went ahead and did it on a lot of it on stream, because it just was so, I mean, so many just moments where you're doing the thing and you're kind of going from A to B, and then this conversation or this circumstance was presented where it just felt like, whoa, that is when you met Naufalar the first time.
Yep.
Whoa,
that was bass
crazy.
Comes in his voice, and like
crazy.
Suddenly all this stuff happens.
Was so good.
You have to adjust your sound settings. I want that bass, man.
Yep. Yeah. So good.
It was good. And yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, I think probably one of my favorite moments streaming ESO has probably been the end quest kind of bit.
Yeah.
And other than some PvP moments I've had, and just this show, which is not streaming the game, but it's like, it's been kind of some of my favorite stuff. Like, I think the last DLC is probably, even with the chapter, I think this has probably been my favorite this year, actually.
Same here. I love Elsewhere, but
yeah,
dang.
But that could have, I mean, it couldn't have been a chapter, obviously, because you haven't got like the new everything that came with Elsewhere, because Elsewhere is different, isn't it? But I mean, Elsewhere was still good. I mean, you had returning characters there. You had, some of the similar elements that are in kind of, I mean, we had Saizan come back as well. Obviously, well, they could have done that a bit better. Apparently,
Your rival.
I don't know. Apparently, they didn't do that so well. That was something that people weren't massively happy with. I still don't know really specifically what happened. How people were like, how he came back. I'm not sure if it might have been Ninja. Actually. I'm not sure who did, but I think it was on this show. Someone said they weren't massively happy with how he came back.
No, it was lame.
Killed him off. Yeah, okay, maybe it was you.
Yeah, it was totally lame. It was totally lame. It was, they may have well just gone magic.
That's a pretty good explanation for me. I'm like, magic. Just some guy comes up to your character who's like, woo!
Exactly, man.
But who would have done it?
Magic.
Which character in the game would have been okay to actually do that, though? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Everyone.
I get it. They, but yeah, anyway, it's fine.
Niche just actually showed it.
But going back to the chapter stories, I actually, except maybe Somerset, I really like Somerset.
That was some good stuff.
With the exception of Somerset, I always feel like the fourth quarter DLCs have much better story lines. I haven't done Murkmire, but I've heard really good things about it.
Murkmire was
I love
so good.
Clockwork City.
Clockwork City is one of my favorite.
Dragonhold. Yeah.
Clockwork
They don't worry so much about filling the zone. Instead, you really get this very concentrated story experience and character driven stuff. And I love it.
Yeah, it is very unique. And the reason I sound sad about that is because I wish other games did it.
My internet's doing this thing again.
I mean, we can see it and hear you if that helps. You seem to be okay. Yeah, you're blinking. You're good. Say hello. Uh-oh. Is he trolling me? I don't know.
I don't know. I think he can't hear us probably.
He's really good. He's really good at staring.
You guys sound like beeps and boops. That's all I can hear.
We can hear you. You just look like you're forever
hilarious.
stuck in the. Oh, hello. Oh, there we go. Hey, we got you back. We got you back. Okay, so what I was about to say is that I wish other games did it. I wish other games did had that quality. And they tell good stories, and they're good, in their own universe, and it's okay. But it's not like I don't go to other games and I'm like, oh wow, this story was amazing, and this is why you should play this game. It'll be like the mechanics or the combat and stuff like that. Whereas at ESO, I'm like, oh yeah, you should play ESO because the story's fucking great. Whereas I'm like, with any other MMO, I can't really say that I've had the same experience. I don't know.
I've heard people like the stories and Shadowbringers and the Star Wars MMO.
Oh, that's actually true. All right. I'll debunk myself.
I don't really care about Star Wars or anything like that.
Wow, that end call button is looking really good right now.
No.
Whoa. I know.
No,
It's chat. Oh god. You've got viewers in here. Careful.
I just played games when I was little. I didn't care about movies. I'm catching up. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people really like the story in that game. And like you said, Shadowbringers, which I'll see eventually, 5 years from now. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm so spoiled by ESO and just being able to do whatever I want, whenever I want. But
yeah, T, you have to get through the base game story of Final Fantasy XIV first. So good luck with that.
I like everything else after that.
It's
hang on. Oh. Where's the unfriend, unfollow button?
Ninja's looking for it. I tell you what, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it whatsoever, but Mandalorian will change your life. I'm telling you.
So good.
My God. I'm watching
Yoda,
The Witcher at the moment.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Come on, chat, sing it with me.
Everything is so good about it. And I've really got to do a general TV, talking about TV podcast soon. I've got to do it so bad because there's so much I want to talk about. Okay, ESO, Elder Scrolls. They could probably do an Elder Scrolls TV show, in all fairness.
Dude, I just want a company that uses Blur. ESO would be perfect to just do a feature-length cinema movie using Blur's, team to make a full-length, feature-length CGI movie. Because think of these trailers that we get.
Final Fantasy did it, right? Final Fantasy movie was actually pretty good. I remember that. I was like,
that live-action bull crap that WoW did was such a disappointment. It was so bad.
Have I even seen that? I feel like
Don't
I
waste your
have,
time.
but I was bored. It was weird. Like, yeah, I mean, why bother? Just like, yeah, have it all a fucking CGI. Just go with that. Do that. You're gonna make it fantasy. Just do that. It's easier, isn't it? Yeah, CGI. All the whole thing CGI. Yeah, I mean the CGI. That's another thing that they did really well. Like you said, you know the and then we saw the one at the Game Awards, one as well. And then kind of introducing us to.
Okay, hold on. I have to talk about this. I have a rant. Okay, so I watched the Game Awards, and I was like, "Oh, I'll stream it with, and watch it in the community." And we've got the ESO trailer to look forward to. Oh boy! Yep. And maybe there'll see some cool Nintendo stuff while we're there. And I watched it, and well, like 2 hours in, we were like, are we getting trolled? Was there not going to be any ESO announcement?
Literally the last spot.
The last thing.
Oh yeah, the Game Awards is just literally advertisements for games. You know that, right? Yeah, it's not actually about anything else.
Something came on, we're like, is this the Elder Scrolls? No. And then there was like one game where there was like a deer. We're like, oh my gosh, this is Indrik, yay!
Oh yeah.
No, that's not it. That's not an Indrik at all.
Yeah, no.
And there was like a human guy with like a red ruby. We're like, Imperials. There's the Imperial. We just were making up our own Elder Scrolls trailer because we just were waiting so long. And it wasn't even the full thing. Yeah. It was like a commercial for the trailer.
It was never going to be. Yeah, no, it was never going to be anything like the amount of money they probably paid for that spot would have been ridiculous as well, to be fair.
I think they did it last year or 1 year. They had like a big ESO spot. And like 1 year they did one with like the community and stuff like that. But I guess this year they must have really upcharged something.
I mean, it's time as well, probably. They'll probably say, like, here's, your 45-second slot because so many people want it, I guess.
I had a blast with my community watching just making fun of the cringe and the goofiness of it. Yeah.
I was like, I've been watching this ad for like an hour now. Are we going to get to have any awards?
We're like, oh boy, another ad. Yeah. One of my viewers was like, I like how they announced the ad so you don't think it's an ad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you'll be really excited about this because I am, and then there's some game you've never heard of, and there's some series you've never heard of.
The actual rewards were so like nobody got to talk except for like
a ton of people didn't even go. Like Shroud won like best streamer.
That might be why.
I was like, I think it was Shroud got best streamer. It wasn't even there. Didn't even care. Just like it didn't even talk about it. I was just like, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's a shame that
fighting game in the pre-show. Like it wasn't even a part of the main show. They're like, here's the best fighting game for the year. I'm like, wait a minute, what? The show doesn't even technically start.
Confused.
So mean.
And you guys confused New World with ESO. Nice.
Yeah.
Really? That was a pretty good trailer.
Even when I see a screenshot on Twitter, it looks like an ESO trailer, like the Blur studio.
It's got the same kind of.
Is that an ESO thing? And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's the same kind of style as well, because it's dark and it's pretty, the armor and stuff like that.
I'm not allowed to talk about it.
You're not allowed to talk about what?
New World.
Well, I mean, you can talk about the stuff you've seen.
Yeah, but I can't comment on things. It's fine.
Stuff.
I mean, I know it's fine. I've been there for ages. I've been in Alpha for like years. It's okay.
But we can't talk about the similarities and differences with ESO. Is what I mean,
you can, as a gamer, as a streamer, of course you can. Like you can talk about the. Like it looks, there's the same similar kind of feel. You might enjoy it because it's the same kind of.
Did you read that NDA? And it's Amazon, Jebro. You should probably stop talking, sir.
It's okay. It's fine.
He's gonna delete this pod.
We're talking about trailers. We're talking about trailers. We're gamers. Believe me, I've been
AI
under
bots
NDAs
are
for so long.
coming
I've
for
read
you.
everything. It's fine. So anyway, I'm gonna move on. I do read. I can read. Look, I've got my business card right here. If you want to see it, actually, it's wrong. There's a misprint.
Thought you were about to dox yourself. I was like,
I'm
oh.
gonna dox. So I do. So I'm trying to read. You've got the emotes there. The blindness. So with the game, with Elder Scrolls Online, it has. I mean, I've enjoyed. Let's talk about the positive stuff, I guess, for a while, because there's been some positive things. I think I want to kind of mix the positive into the kind of next year as well, really. And I guess at the Game Awards we kind of saw we're going to Skyrim, right? Are you guys excited about this? Is this something that you were surprised about? You were like, oh, we're going to Skyrim.
Meh.
Oh,
Whoa.
shit. Oh, God. Don't get Ranger in here. Oh, Jesus. I mean, if you haven't got high, I mean, you just go on Twitter and every 5 minutes you'll be able to see a casual Ranger tweet about Skyrim. He's giving us more content than anyone else about Skyrim, I reckon.
I guess it's just that I played the hell out of Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5. I modded it so many ways to Sunday. I played it to death. I like Skyrim. I like the Nords. I like the Vikings. The whole Viking vibe. I dig all that. Elder Scrolls Online to me is an opportunity to see places we haven't gone yet. So it's why Elsewhere was so exciting. It's why Somerset was so exciting.
Yeah.
Morrowind, I kind of had the same reaction. I was like, well, this is a crowd pleaser because people want to go because people liked Morrowind. So at least we get to see it in modern graphics, right? So Skyrim's kind of the same for me in that it's like, yeah, okay, cool. However, the ZeniMax Online Studios team has habitually surprised me with how good they do in world building and storytelling and giving us cool and interesting new stuff. So I'm excited to see what they do with it, but the content itself, I'm not as hyped about as I was for Elsewhere, because Elsewhere was this mystical, mysterious place that we had been reading about and hearing about in these games for ages. And to finally get to go see it and live it and experience it was super duper cool. The same as Somerset. It was always these mysterious isle where the elves came from. Like, what was that about? That kind of stuff. So to go back to a place we've already seen, excited to see what ZeniMax does with it, but not all that excited to see more Skyrim, because I've done so much fucking Skyrim in so many ways. You know what I mean? So that's where the meh comes from. That's all. It's not that I dislike Skyrim. It's just that I just want new stuff. I want news. I want to see what ZeniMax does with new stuff. That's what gets me really jazzed.
Okay, that's a fair point. I mean, there was something that came up. I mean, T, let's go to you first, rather than me talking. How do you feel about it? And you're a Khajiit, you're going to be cold?
Wait, no. I have kitten mittens.
No! I like how, first of all, you were like, no, what are you talking about? It was stupid, Jim. I think you should just go cold.
So, I know, I'm sorry.
No,
I don't know why
right.
my phone's so busy today.
Just a popular.
Leave Tia alone. She's doing a thing.
You're allowed to. It's all right.
Everybody's sick. I don't know what to do.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. So as far as Skyrim is concerned, I completely 100% agree that ZeniMax doing stuff that we haven't seen before is usually where they shine the brightest.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hrothgar, Somerset, Clockwork City, Murkmire, Elsewhere. Like, I love all that stuff so much. However, there's one thing I think Skyrim really lacked, and that is in the lore department. And I think that is where ESO is going to thrive. Like, Bethesda, I feel sometimes is really afraid to just do crazy lore stuff like they used to. And this is gonna be a chance, like where we actually get to see some deeper Nord lore and
Some more
Skyrim
stories
lore that we
told.
just did not get to see in the Skyrim.
Okay, that's cool. That's actually pretty decent.
I also really like snow. Like I'm
That's the real reason,
As my
isn't
fiance calls me.
it?
There was my first Elder Scrolls game. I played Morrowind for like 10 minutes before I got beaten up by a mud crab and just said it was stupid. And then I got pulled in by Skyrim because, I mean, I live in Colorado. I like mountains and snow, and I think it's cool. And so I just played on a whim, and then I failed one of my college classes that I needed to graduate.
Whoops.
Oh, good lord.
Well, I'm excited to see ESO's interpretation. I also think people are a little bit hard on Skyrim. Poor like Nord players. We haven't had any Skyrim content. It was like Elsewhere, with nothing really except dungeons for the entirety of Elder Scrolls.
Well, you got to eat some Martian Rift in.
Yeah. Base game. That's true. That is more than Elsewhere had. Elsewhere had like half a zone.
Right.
The other half was Bosmer. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what they've come up with.
Okay. Yeah, I think part of me was like, how are they going to fit in, like, what the expectations of players, I think, is a bit like, you know, Skyrim as a game, as just the game, how big it was. And I mean, I've not played it. I'm actually doing a playthrough soon.
Whoa. Really?
Yes.
Wow. I kind of envy you, honestly.
Uh-oh. You're not in college, are you? You realize that you do stream for a job. Just tease. After today, I know I am, but I'm gonna. Thankfully, I'm 38 now. I've got some self-control. Other than when I was like, you know, when I was at school, like at uni and stuff, and I was playing WoW and PlanetSide.
Elder Scrolls is a scary beast.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm gonna mod it out and we'll see. But yeah, that's gonna be exciting. Actually, I'm excited for that. But just whether or not they can fit all of this into this zone, whether or not people are gonna have expectations of their experience from, you know, that game, and then, you know, there's what's gonna be in an ESO, like, exactly. Because, you know, I mean, are we gonna still have a dragon still going to be a thing? I mean, they could be. I mean, you never know. Is it going to be its own separate thing? just like, I'm done with dragons, dude.
No, it's not that. It's just that I
want
like
it to be its own thing.
That Elder Scrolls has been careful about the lore, and I think if you start throwing dragons, because they have them now, they've done the technology. It starts to. I don't. There's nothing in the lore that would support dragons in Skyrim at this time period. Elsewhere, you can get away with it because of the storyline, and we knew nothing about Elsewhere other than the little tidbits we got. So they had the license to do it. You don't have the license to do it here. Like, it really would be unprecedented because there's a wealth of other game material out there that would directly contradict it, and not in a unreliable, you know, narrator kind of way. That'd be like, how the hell has everybody forgotten that dragons were around 700 years prior to Skyrim, you know?
Yeah.
It just wouldn't make any sense.
Okay, so I've got to go to the door for a minute because apparently my landlord needs to talk to me. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. You're going to kind of answer. So what would you want to see?
Do you want us to kind of answer or actually answer?
You can just answer in a casual way because I'm going to be away for 5 minutes. I'm sorry about this, but he's like knocking on my door. What do you want from what would you like from Skyrim? Do you think they're going to bring in a new class? If you could have a new guild, what would it be? If you could have a new class, what would it be? And I'll be right back because this could be a long one. And T, you start. I'll be back. Hopefully not that long.
I hope you don't get kicked out.
I'm not going to get kicked out. It's not about that. They're doing work. They're doing some work, and I think they're going to tell me this.
Streamer
So.
evicted
okay.
live on stream. You won't believe what
Green
happened.
screen. J-Bro just starts taking his green screen down. Yeah, guys, the only thing that's left now is the CV.
It's getting dragged away.
All right, I'll be right back.
What was the question?
I don't remember.
Skyrim, what class or guild would you like to see?
Oh,
Think
okay.
about
I
it.
got it.
I heard you from my headphones. Your despair.
No. Okay. You got caught not paying attention. This is why I don't do good with trials when I'm streaming. Class? I don't think we're getting a class.
Nope.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bard, as long as it didn't suck like in Skyrim. Like the Bard quest line really was horrible in Skyrim. Either a class or a whatever we call it, skill line. If it wasn't Skyrim themed, I'd want to be able to punch people with my bare fists. And then I would not be a true Elder Scrolls fan if I didn't complain about there not being spears. So spears too. There you go. Those are my answers.
Spear weapons, like a spear or like a pole arm.
Like, everyone always complains.
If there's no spears.
I really like classes where you can punch things. Even though I play Magicka and ESO, like all the other games I play, I like to play characters that like punch people.
Well, I don't think there's going to be a class. We just got one, and the way ZeniMax operates, I can't imagine they would ever do new classes that aggressively. Every other, if not every third, moving forward. So, spell crafting isn't going to be a thing. The devs have already multiple times said they don't plan on doing spell crafting. They're way too concerned about the impact on balance, and they're already having their hands full with that to begin with. So spell crafting won't be a thing. Even though it was data mined, it was something that in the base game in the very beginning that they had explored, but it's never going to be a thing.
They dropped it.
Yeah. I mean, I anticipate possibly a skill line or two. If you look at Somerset, we got 2 skill lines out of Somerset. You get jewelry crafting and you get the Sigic skill line. So possibly something related to crafting, possibly a new system that we've never heard of, possibly, some sort of skill line, that it could be bards, could be something we don't even, know about or haven't thought about. It's hard to say. What do I want? Ultimately, I want the Skyrim content to be so good that that I forgot that I was bored that it was Skyrim as the new chapter. That's what I want.
This came being back at a really random time, though. So what? Did you just continue the conversation we had before I went to the phone?
No, I cannot stress enough just how okay, Skyrim, neat. That I want to be wowed by ZeniMax's storytelling and world building and interesting lore exploration. Because then I'll be intrigued enough that it doesn't matter. We're back in Skyrim, Okay. So, but new skills. I get leery at this point about new skill lines and even new classes because I'm so hung up on the balance of the game right now in terms of them getting that sorted first. So
yeah,
I would be okay if there was a little bit less, new systems in place, but the performance enhancements and all that other stuff was actually what came to fruition and truly gave us, a reinvigoration of the game because we're not always bitching about, these horrific game breaking performance issues,
Yeah.
If we had a solid year of updates coming out that had really great content and world building and stuff, but nothing really new and razzle dazzle from a system standpoint. But the game became very stable and very solid, and it felt very good to play. That would be a huge win to me. I'd feel good about that.
What did T? What did you say in the biscuit tin? Like,
She wants to punch people.
I want to punch people, and also a bard class or a
and you mean
skill
talking about
line.
class? You don't just mean real life. Okay.
Yeah.
I
mean-
There's no class coming with this. We just got one, and
Yeah.
ZeniMax is not going to release a new class here, so don't.
They're definitely not. I still think there's gonna be a system because that's kind of how they sell the expansions to people who
Separate
don't
thing.
care about the quests.
Yep.
So
Jewelry crafting
there's
was a
gonna be
thing,
some
and
sort of
yeah,
jewelry
Sijic-
crafting was a big
Sijic
one.
Gold Lion and the jewelry
Ooh,
crafting.
jewelry
was
crafting
fun.
got many people angry too.
I mean, you never know. I mean, maybe they could introduce something like, and I wrote, I did want to say something like roadmap for, oh no, I said in the notes, I said new class ? What's coming with the new chapter, unicorns. So the reason why I wrote unicorns was because I was like, imagine something crazy that could come up. Doesn't necessarily mean it will happen, but like, you never know. Like, something crazy could be introduced. Like, I mean, what if it was suddenly some vertical kind of map with different levels, and suddenly you could glide around, or you could fly around on a mount? Which obviously probably wouldn't happen. But, you know, like, if there was something that you could have that would be just fun as hell, that would be fun as hell, that you could bring into the game, that was somewhat that you would just like to have, what would it be? Like, if it came with like a chapter expansion, but like, or or maybe it's just a guild line or something. Is there anything that you would like to see? I mean, you know, Ninja said you're happy with like
100% Lyris mount.
I mean, that's
easy.
unicorn level. That's unicorn. That's literally unicorn level.
Yeah, see, Flawless Sinner knows.
Okay, fair enough. Oh yeah, it says that. Is there anything else? Is there anything in there, T, that you would love to have? Like, I mean, you're talking about punching. You're talking about like you would, if you could see something new, like you would like to have, like a kind of melee class or melee
I feel like
line or something.
I feel like there's a chance we might get this, but I'd like to see them go like super crazy into Dwemer stuff. Because I'm hoping that the dark heart of Skyrim may be Blackreach, and that has a lot of Dwemer connotations with it.
How cool would it be to meet the final Dwemer? The last one.
Yeah, he could be hanging around somewhere, I think.
He's still alive. I mean, he has, because Morrowind didn't happen until, third era, so...
Yeah, I don't know where he is right now. Maybe he's hanging out with Divith Fear, but I mean, we've already seen Divith Fear in a couple of DLCs, so it wouldn't be beyond to think that he might just be like, oh, hi, I was just doing research down here. Come with me, and you travel to some crazy... I mean, he's the one who took us to Clockwork City, so we can go anywhere, theoretically, in the Elder Scroll universe. Clockwork City is not supposed to be accessible at all, ever. But we have Telvanni mages.
I mean, yeah, I think you can.
They want because they're ridiculously powerful.
You can accept now that anything can probably happen. I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Because magic.
Yeah, exactly. Saisahan, yeah.
Mysticism is quite the trip, is all I will say. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't think there's anything that I really. I mean, I wanted to have an unarmed class where you just maybe have knuckle dusters or something, like some kind of just fighting. Like there are some animations in the game where it's already there. Obviously, it'd be difficult. A new weapon and all that kind of stuff, a new line, maybe whatever. Yeah, it would be interesting. You never know. Like a monk kind of class. I think Rangers talking about on Twitter, like a bard class, and that could be something that could be quite cool, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting. I don't think they're going to skip. Obviously, they've done. They've only introduced 2, so I don't think it's going to happen. But we're talking about unicorns. It could be something fun that would be interesting in the future. I'm not sure how that would fit in, but yeah, I think I'm just looking forward to new zones, the story stuff the most, and just seeing how they're going to lay it out. I mean, one thing I was going to ask you guys was like, are you okay? And this is something that is it massively OP or is it massive? Are they called massively OP? They basically gave ESO like the big thumbs up for the year, like MMO of the year or something, right? And they said the ESO was the best one, but they didn't like that it was kind of predictable what was coming. Like, so the DLCs that you were getting a dungeon, and then you got like the story patch, and you got the chapter, and then the story patch, whatever order. I've obviously said that in the wrong order. But like they said, I think the writer said they didn't like that. And I was like, but I mean that's kind of good. I mean, I liked it. I liked what I was getting. But do you guys think that they should be
doing that for years though?
That's what I thought, right? But is that good?
Since Morrowind.
Is that good the way they do that? Is that something you guys aren't really that bothered about? Does it matter? Could they mix it up a bit?
As a content creator, it's really helpful because I know when
stuff's coming out,
I'll be playing a whole lot of ESO.
yeah.
But I mean, like if I wasn't streaming, I would still probably care to know what's happening. During the first year, we got the 2 Craglearn updates, and then we had radio silence, and we were terrified that they were just gonna stop supporting the game, and it ended up not being that. They did a big announcement where they're like, all right, we're gonna do buy to play, and we've got Imperial City, and we got all this stuff.
That's probably when they were working out that whether or not they were gonna do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it was scary as a player. Like we had like guilds just kind of dropping out of the sky, so to speak, because they just assumed that there was nothing new on the horizon.
Yeah.
Since we have a plan in place now, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say like, oh, is ESO gonna have new content next year? Like that doesn't even enter the thought process of anybody I've ever talked to. Like they don't know. They just assume, oh, next year we're gonna get a new chapter.
A lot of other MMOs, that's the case. Other MMOs, like, even World of Warcraft, there's going to be new content, but it could be classic. To be fair, you can be like, is it going to be in like the retail?
Well, and it could be 2 or 3 years before you see it. Like, you're playing the same crap for a couple years before you see anything really significant.
Yeah, me too.
Where in ESO, every quarter there's going to be something new added to the game. And at this point, there's so much to do. It's highly unlikely you've done everything. So even though there's just a couple of dungeons that came along and you do them a few times, there's still so many things to do in the game at this point that it's highly unlikely you've done it all. So you'll still have things to keep you busy while you wait for the next chapter, right? Or the next DLC. So I kind of like the schedule. I think it's really helpful in terms of just always having something new to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, that there's going to be a new DLC or a new chapter coming. So even if you know what that DLC is going to be like, you still don't know what it is. It's 2 new dungeons. What are those 2 dungeons going to be? What's the theme going to be? What's the story going to be? Are there going to be new mechanics we haven't seen before? Yeah. So I see it as a plus. I see it as a huge selling point because MMOs traditionally have these huge long wait times in between any significant content.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird comment to make from them, actually, in all honesty. I was like, okay, you said this is like the best one, but then it's like the one thing that annoys us as MMO players, as you just said, is literally not knowing what the hell's going on. Like, what's going on? When are we getting the content? Like, what's going to happen? Like, that's an online service. Like, MMOs primarily have always been the forefront. You know, that's where it pretty much all started, really. And it's like, you know, they're the ones that they're going to be starting to perfect this kind of thing as we go forward in time. And other people are starting to, you know, not understand that this is a good way to make money, I suppose, as well. And you got like Destiny 2, and you got like, well, Anthem tried it, and you got, you know, Borderlands 3, all these games where they're just updating it now, and it's almost like its own little MMO experience. And I think it's good because you know people have to compete. And he even had a mini roadmap in Guild Wars 2 as well. Towards the end of, well, like a week or so again, and I feel like if Elder Scrolls Online didn't do like a lot of the stuff they're doing, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be doing what they're doing as well. I feel like, you know, they're actually doing a pretty damn good job at letting their player base know that, hey guys, we're doing things. Come play the game, okay? And I think, you know,
it's like customers want to be secure and knowing that they're not just going to be spending a bunch of money on a game that suddenly isn't getting support. When you buy ESO or you subscribe to ESO Plus, you know you're going to get DLC in a couple months.
Yeah, pioneering, that's a good word.
Without fail.
Exactly, without fail. Yeah, I mean, we've not been let down, have we? I mean, there are all the things in between, like some of the systems and, okay, queuing for the events, and an event didn't happen, but, you know, it's not like it was a DLC or something. It wasn't like, you know, completely new content to the game. It's just an event that was...
Okay, earlier you
Group
mentioned...
Finder isn't working. We're going to cancel this DLC.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier, you're like, oh, didn't dungeons work better before? Actually, that's the reason they redid all this, is because last year's Undaunted event completely imploded, and then the year before that, it also completely imploded. To the point where like you couldn't even group with people. It was very interesting. It was weird.
I remember 2018.
Weird time.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was like, I think other than events, because I'm still not sure. I mean, you know, obviously they've got, like Ninja was explaining earlier, I think it was just a general question, because I'm still like, just to kind of, that's why I asked question. Well, the questions I asked on the podcast aren't always necessarily things I believe, is to kind of just spark up conversation. Also because sometimes I'm just not sure myself, maybe. I'm just like, can they persuade me? But yeah, no, you're right. 2018 was a nightmare, I remember. But I think I didn't say my major gripe with 2019. My major gripe with 2019 is PvP Battlegrounds. It's pretty bad. It's not great. Teams are uneven, and it's a group finder thing. I'm assuming. You know, you can go into games where it's, you know, you're one player up against 4-on-4. You can, and it's not necessarily like the systems that are missing that I would love to see, and it's just it's not working. And it's part of the game that I really, really do enjoy quite a lot, especially because of the combat. I actually really like it, and I get really hyped when I'm playing Dragon Knight. I love it. When I'm playing healer as well, I kind of enjoy it. I know I don't get anything great out of it, like score on the board and everything, but it's not about that. It's just about gameplay for me. I think that's just my major disappointment, but it's not like the biggest be all and end all, because I'm enjoying so much else of the game elsewhere. So it's like, I'll just get that fixed elsewhere. It's a shame. But I think, you know, as the other things start to get ironed out, I don't feel like it's just going to be left. I feel like it's just going to kind of improve as all the system stuff gets kind of fixed and addressed. I don't know. I think that's good. I feel like that's going to be okay. But yeah, Cyrodiil I haven't really been in for a long time. And I've never really been heavily involved in Cyrodiil. I would like to, but yeah, no, I'm not there with that.
When it's performing well, it's really fun. But the last time I went in with a group of us, and it was like as soon as we encountered any amount of other players, it turned into a slideshow. It was so bad that it was like, this is, no. So I was like, we're we're not going back there until that shit gets sorted. I do feel bad for the dedicated PvPers who live in Cyrodiil. When prime time happens, it is truly most of the time in an unplayable state right now, and that would be extremely frustrating. Luckily for me, I'm not one-dimensional in my enjoyment of ESO. Like I pretty much enjoy the entire game except for fishing.
Yeah. Except for fishing. I think you can be allowed to not enjoy fishing. No, sorry, we Andy don't like it, everyone. He's out. He's not in the stream team anymore. Fishing is my main thing. I'm sorry. Complaints.
Very controversial.
Oh yeah.
Fishing hater. I hate fishing in all video games. Let it be known. Let it be known.
Why do you hate fishing in all video games?
Because it's
not
boring enough in real life.
All right, you just don't like fishing at all. You just don't like fishing.
I mean, it's like I'm just gonna sit here and look at my character sitting here waiting for a fish to bite. Like, what the hell is that?
You don't like fishing then? Is that what you just don't like fishing?
I do. In the right circumstances, I'm okay with fishing in real life.
As long as you're not fishing, someone else is doing it.
No. I mean, like I've gone on fishing trips where like you're canoeing and you're living off the land and you're portaging and you're fishing and you're cooking it up at night, and that's fun. That's cool. But the whole like just watching my character, I'm sitting here in a chair watching my character sitting or standing and fishing, waiting for fish to bite. Like that's not, and there's no skill involved. You're literally just waiting for your character to jerk their pole, and then you press a button. That's it.
Clip.
And then you do it again. And then you do it again over and over. I mean, it is the most like, why are we doing this?
I mean, that activity, some people enjoy several times a day. Oh, dear. I'm going to shut up now. Is Ninja crashed? That's like the worst time to stop. He's just like, no, he's not saying anything. Oh, I had to go there. Sorry. Oh, I tried to be very good.
That was way too easy. Don't blame.
I had to go there. Oh dear, I'm sorry, guys. I made too much working of the. Yeah, we know. I'm trying to keep this clean for the podcast, okay, on iTunes and everything.
For the children.
I click this as clean, okay.
We were just talking about fishing.
We were talking about fishing. Thank you. No, this ninja's kind of paused forever right now, so the freeze frames. That's what I do when it starts to get really inappropriate. I just freeze frame people. It's like Thanos, really, but not clicking my fingers, and he still exists in the world. So it's okay. We're getting quite close to the end now, actually. I love that someone has clipped it. There he is. There he is.
I knew somebody would.
Someone else has also clipped it.
My browser, my internet's doing its thing again. I don't know what's going on today. My cable modem just restarted itself. That's cool.
Oh, weird.
Okay. Well, we're probably going to end quite shortly as well. We've kind of gone from subject to subject. It's been a very chill, enjoyable chat. This is for sure.
Agreed.
As it normally is when we get together. Is there anything else you want to say that was good? Because I feel like maybe I don't think the negative's kind of been. It's not really negative. It's more like stuff.
I don't feel like. I mean, to me, that's ESO in a nutshell. Huge hype on the one hand, and some pretty shitty things of the all coexisting at the same time.
Yeah, and that's kind of okay. It's just like okay.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And we would like to have some changes in the places and the things, and hopefully in next year, like the balance stuff gets hopefully changed. But again, that kind of it's always difficult to talk about balance and that kind of stuff because you've got 3 game modes. You've then got the revitalization and the changes in the whole system that they're trying to do, and I feel like they're kind of doing it from the ground up, but it's going to cause a lot of upheaval while it's kind of getting done. But then hopefully when you get to that, when they've finished everything they're trying to do, you're going to be at that place where balance and gameplay is going to be epic, and a place where everyone's enjoying it a lot more. Hopefully, I just feel like that's going to take a lot of work for them to get to that base, and that's a bit scary. I think the place I feel it the most is PvP. When I go into PvP, and pretty much every player is a stamina Templar. But other than that, and they're just jabbing me in the face, and I'm like, this is not skillful. And that's upsetting. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I think there's just a lot. There's a lot that can, in that side of things, that they've got in the process, and I'm not really worried. I feel like the communication, like Ninja said, I think as long as they keep that up and they can maybe include a little bit more on the balance and the combat side of things, I think they'll start to slowly maybe fix any rifts maybe with players or anyone that's had issues with that in the past, hopefully. It's all about communication, man, at the end of the day. The thing is that ESO actually does it the most, funnily enough. I don't think I've ever seen anyone communicate better than probably Elder Scrolls does with their player base, but I think, you know, they need even more. That's the problem. I'm just like, where do you get to a place where you can, it's just going to be a permanent, you know, conversation basically between the community and you know, the devs, but they need to have a day off, you know, they need to go home. They can't always have this conversation going on, and that's kind of what you were saying earlier. But is there anything else you guys you want to pick up on that was really like impressive from you, or you really enjoyed from 2019, whether or not it was events, whether or not it was, you know, dungeons specifically that were released, or stories or characters? Is there anything you want to add to what we've been talking about? Review.
I'm really happy we got to go to Elsewhere. Like I've
weird.
been kind of waiting
for
that. Where, yeah, I know it's kind of out of left field, but so when I started playing, I started in Canarthy's Roost, and I was like, this is the coolest place. It, like, everything's beautiful there. It's like tropical and comfy, and I was like, oh boy, I can't wait to go to more places and Elsewhere later on in Elder Scrolls Online. And then I did a little bit of research, and I was like, okay, let's see. So then you go to Ordon, and then you go to like 3 Valenwood zones, and then half of a Valenwood zone, and then there's like a tiny little corner with one city that's Elsewhere. And I was a little sad. So, and they kind of ignored it for a while, and we got Maw of Lorcage in like 1 dungeon. That's it. It's been sad times for Elsewhere fans, but this year totally made up for it. And I think the same will happen for people who really been craving some Nord and Skyrim content, because they've been just as starved as we have. I'll be curious to see if they do anything with Argonia, because I don't know. Murkmire, I guess, didn't do so hot, but I would love to see what ESO could do with Argonian lore. Holy smokes, that'd be amazing.
I mean, the content in Murkmire was amazing. I think that, again,
I need to do it.
You had to suffer the very controversial, unpopular balance changes released at the same time. A story zone was released, and we suffered another one of those late year ESO massive dives in enthusiasm for the game, because people were pissed off about, you know, the patch notes. And so you know, that's happened, unfortunately. Seems to be a yearly cycle. Around December, hype for the new chapter starts to build. January, February, woo, you know, new stuff. Comes spring, the new chapter hits, yeah. And then for the rest of the year, it seems to be controversial patch after controversial patch just saps any sort of momentum or hype or enthusiasm that was built up in the first half of the year. And as a content creator, that is maddening. That is maddening. You can see this year, the day that that initial round of controversial patch notes hits, the entire Twitch directory for Elder Scrolls Online viewership absolutely tanked. Half to or less of the viewership it was the day before because of these combat changes and these balance changes, and and that's a pattern that I'm quite frankly really frustrated with as a content creator, because here we are trying particularly if you're on the stream team and you're here and you're the first ones that hear the angst, the anger, and the frustration the minute the patch drops. You are live on the air and you are now sitting there reading these notes, trying to keep, let's keep a level head, everybody. And as you're going through these notes, you're like, holy crap, this is insane. What are they thinking? I'm as confused as you are, chat. Like that is.
And you're trying to be diplomatic, and you're like, I'm trying to be a good person right now, but I also want to set my PC and my face on fire.
Yes, 100%. Like I'm tired of that that cycle, and it's happened 3 years in a row now. 3 years in a row, just like I described. December into spring, great. The second half of the year, viewership and enthusiasm for the game goes in the toilet, and it has happened for 3 years straight. Please, 2020, can we not have this cycle? Just can we build momentum and hype and enthusiasm and maybe make it through the year where that just plateaus at a place of like,
what's the answer to that then? I mean, how do you combat? Do you release the chapter later and do everything before that? Because I feel like I know why they do that.
It shouldn't surround the chapter though. Like,
that's the thing.
I think that's.
Yeah, you don't want to do
not a good
unpopular patch notes when you're releasing the biggest part of the big
exactly. So like what do they do? Do they do it incrementally? Do they do it smaller so there's less there's less like boom, like there's this thing? Do we change things?
Yeah.
Do we do it more like we're gonna change this bits of this line and that line rather than we're going to do massive sweeping changes after?
I have hope now because the previous combat team was very ad hoc and sort of, let's throw it on the wall and see it sticks kind of approach to balance. Yeah. And that's what kind of got us where so when the new combat team came in, that's coming in, that's trying to like realize a true actual strategic roadmap and actually trying to roll these things out in a way that allows them to then get their arms around it. And then, so I have hope, I have optimism that once this exercise is done with this team, maybe things will level out and we won't have these massive swings in enthusiasm and hype for the game, because they will have been done fixing the mess that was left before them. That's my hope. I'm hanging on to that. I'm hanging my hat on that hope and optimism.
I think there's also this year is actually, well, not this year, sorry. 2020 is going to be an interesting year because there is some more like kind of MMO experiences which are going to be coming out, which are going to be like in kind of direct competition, I suppose, with ESO. So it's going to be an interesting year. I think there's also going to be a lot of, I think Classic's going to have some new stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of competition I feel like there's going to be the next like 2 or 3 years, there's going to be a lot more. I think there's going to be like a resurgence of like MMOs. I don't know. I feel like it's on the horizon. Hopefully,
possibly.
There are some bits and bobs peeking their heads in for 2020, but it's going to be. I think with the amount of hype, like you say, with the start of the year for ESO, there's Vegas event, Skyrim, and. That's going to bring a lot of people in that just played Skyrim. They've just played Elder Scrolls. Right. They're just going to come back and they're going to get into that first-person mode and they're going to play it like that. Just so, even though they're not going to experience the same.
Oh, no.
People will do that. There'll be so many people. There'll be more people coming back for Skyrim than there will be for, like, elsewhere. Well, I don't know, actually, because there was a new class. But, like, I feel like there will be. I mean, Skyrim I would be interested to see what Skyrim sales have been like recently, ever since the kind of Game Awards and all that kind of stuff, like miniature hype. But I mean, obviously, like if you think about what The Witcher did for Twitch, I mean, my God,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I mean,
Yeah.
you see The Witcher, even like the first, second, and third games, the directories just blew up. Like even the second one, and like people just went back to that. So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people just mix. I know it's different, it's TV, and
Elder Scrolls series, get on it, Netflix.
I mean, mate, I'd watch that. Argonians.
Hell yeah.
Argonians all day. Let's do it. Argonians.
I've actually already had quite a few people come in being like, "Hi, I want to try ESO. I really like Skyrim. Do you think I'll enjoy it?" And yeah, because I come from the Elder Scrolls side of the fandom, not so much the MMO side of the player base. So I just get really excited when I see other Elder Scrolls fans finally giving ESO a chance, because I know they'll love it.
Once they get past the learning curve of this is not Skyrim in terms of how you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My own fiance was like, "Can I play this in first person?" I was like, "No, don't play in first person." He's like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "Because you're gonna die." And he's like, "No, I can do it." And then like the next day he's like, "I think I understand what you were saying." And I was like, "Yes." They literally just added the first person in because people were upset that ESO wasn't Skyrim.
Yeah, T's like, I only play this 150 plus hours a month, but don't listen to me. You do you, boo.
Whoa. I mean, that was a good.
Honestly, it is fun to explore. Like, if you want to really take in a new zone, go in first person.
Screenshots.
Put on walk, hang out. It's beautiful. But if you want to actually play the game, please don't play in first person.
Wow, T telling
Unless
people
you like
how to play the game.
Unless you like dying.
Yeah, go into Cyrodiil in first person. That's great.
And even when you die, you still have to look at your dead self in third person. So
you probably won't know that it's lagging. At least, I guess. There's less
Unless
stuff to
you're
look
next to a wall, then you have to be in first person when you're dead.
That's true. Okay, so we've had a good. I was actually, and just a final random stat off of the link that was put into chat. Yes, The Witcher actually, as well, beat its sales on launch day. Sometimes, is the case with some games, because of the recent release of that TV series. Crazy. In one day.
I mean, to be fair, Witcher 3 is a great. All of the Witcher games are great, but Witcher 3 was a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, you released I mean, even the graphics now and just the game, like the gameplay and the story and it's just mind-blowingly awesome. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Definitely, probably many people's favorites, to be fair. But yeah, it's definitely awesome. Maybe I should do a TV show podcast. I think maybe just get you guys on that as well. I don't know how much T watches Netflix shows and stuff, but maybe one day.
I'm a weeb.
Okay, right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't watch much of that. I'm sorry. Maybe next year. Maybe that's the New Year's resolution. Okay.
Anime and Twitch is literally what I own entertainment.
So, all right, there you go. That's the last question. Last question before we go, because we've been here for a while. Not that I'm a New Year's resolution person at all, because I think, if you want to improve yourself, you're always doing that. It shouldn't just be in the 1st of January of every year. Do you have anything you're trying to do new, maybe in ESO in 2020? Is there anything you're going to try and do more of, or continue to do, that you're looking forward to doing from the start of 2020 to kind of leading up to all of these DLCs? Just to be on theme a little bit with the fact that we're kind of coming to the end of, well, not when I kind of coming to the end of, we are at the end of 2019 it's the 30th today, of December. Is there anything you are kind of aiming for yourselves? Got any goals for 2020 in the game, or even in your stream community or anything at all? Just keep doing the things.
Well, I mean, if I can find new and interesting ways to trigger inklings, I'll definitely be endeavoring upon those. I mean, that's
Awesome.
always a priority.
I mean, if you share them with the rest of us, I'm sure when he pops in, we can potentially do. I mean, maybe if I don't do my writs on stream or something, or say that I've got my writs today, I don't know if that triggers him there.
I usually wait till Inklings gets in my chat before I start going through my inventory, just so he can truly tremble in his chair.
Okay. He needs to come to my stream then. Definitely. Oh my god, this is triggering for people on a daily basis that aren't even that bothered by inventory most of the time.
My internet is dying again. What the hell's going on today?
We see and hear you still. We're gonna probably wind down now. But Tia, is there anything else that you want to do? Ninja wants to trigger Inklings more. What do you want to do?
I don't know. Like, I've been playing this game so long. It's just sort of like a daily ritual to me, I guess. Like, I don't even think about what I do when I log on ESO. I just log in, and hang out with my friends. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. Maybe I can like try and get better at playing it.
Get better at the game.
Let's not get crazy.
Wow.
I know. That's like at a certain point, it's I've accepted my fate as a bad player, but I don't know. As long as I can keep the game as something that I enjoy and that is a positive, fun experience. There was a point when before I was streaming where it was feeling more like a job to me. And, doing like anyone who's ever done like guild duties and stuff, it's rough sometimes. And I would just encourage people to do what you like in the game, and that'll continue to make it fun for you. Don't force yourself to keep doing something if it's starting to weigh on you negatively.
Good way to go about life generally, and I guess as well. There you go.
Yeah. In other words, don't worry about the event tickets, guys.
Don't do shit you don't enjoy if you don't need to do it. Basically.
Yeah.
We all have to do stuff in life that we don't particularly want to do for different reasons and responsibilities.
Yeah, why are you doing it in game?
Why the hell are you doing
Just
it with
do
something
what you want. Go pick flowers. Go jump on a guar and fall off a cliff and die. Isn't that what everyone does in ES?
There we go.
No?
I like that. Good stuff. Okay, otherwise that's 2019.
I hear beeps and boops, and I heard T say something about jumping on a guar.
Oh, okay.
That's all I can hear right now.
Can you hear me talking?
So sad, man. I don't think he can hear. He's gone. R.I.P.
Like a ninja. He has a great freeze frame, look.
The 614th ninja.
Where does he live that the internet is like that? Is it just like a provider or something? Or is it like, oh god.
Who knows?
I know that pain so much. I hate it. It's the worst.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's like if you're it's like literally you can't work. It's like I can't do anything.
Yeah, no, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying when your internet is the cause of issue. Like, you can fix your computer. Sometimes you can't fix your internet provider. It's like, what do you do?
Time,
I live here.
Yeah, I mean, some people literally move. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
There he is.
Am I back?
Yeah,
I think I'm back.
We hear you.
Sorry about my internet today. I seriously don't know what's going on.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
Well, we appear to be back.
Internet,
we were talking
landlords.
about how scary that is when you're a streamer and you're like this is what you do for a job, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what to do my internet because this is what I do.
Anxiety goes through the roof.
I'm now
Or
going
you're in the middle of a show and you get evicted by your landlord.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really...
yeah. I'm waiting for that one.
It's
That'll
really
be the
nice
one.
of them to let you finish the podcast.
Yeah,
before
really.
That's true.
Very
considerate.
We're off now, right? There is a green screen here. I'm gonna have to take down soon. It's literally that
They'll
and the
have, like,
camera.
boxes and stuff back
Yeah.
there already.
Yeah. I've just got, I've already got the coat hangers out just down there. I'm just waiting to go. I've actually just like been folding clothes and putting them in a suitcase while we've been here. Actually, that's why I changed it to a Monday because I could pack
there you
during the
go.
stream.
You can
So-
pack.
Yeah.
Probably stream that
Yeah.
though. That would actually probably be quite good. Just go to just chatting and like, I'm being evicted. My most viewership I've ever got. What happens? There's police.
Come watch me get kicked out.
Yeah, that's probably actually happened before. Yeah, I was gonna say.
My PayPal is below.
Yeah, go fund me. Please don't let it happen. Exclamation mark donate. I know you just helped me build a new PC, but I also need to like get a house now. I can't live in the case. I know PC cases are getting bigger, but it still has to be delivered in one piece.
Oh no. I hope it actually gets there.
It will.
See you next
Yeah, it will. Just in case you didn't know, yeah. Well, there you go. Small update. The stream has helped me to build a new PC, but the last thing that showed up was the case, and it was completely smashed, and literally was being held together by the plastic sticker bit, which is on the outside. So I was like, probably send that back. We'll go with the full case, complete without like massive air gaps of destruction. Anyway, podcast is done. We're gonna see you next time. Okay, so that was the last one of 2019. I think we've wrapped up pretty well there. There's loads of good stuff and stuff we enjoyed, didn't so much enjoy. But it's mostly positive, which is always good. If we can end on a positive note, that's always good. And I think we enjoyed all the things in 2019. 2020 is going to be an interesting one. You got the event in Vegas. Obviously, if you're going, have all the fun. I unfortunately will not be going. I've got school. I literally start school, I think. Or no, it's like the first or second week. And it's on a Thursday, so I can't go. And it's a big expense, unfortunately. I just can't really... Grad school and everything, I just can't. And grad school is important. But have all the fun if you're going to that. Viewers, people in general, listeners. I was obviously going to continue to do all the things on Twitch as I do normally, but let's ask T the Khajiit and Ninja what they're doing, where they're doing it, where you can find them. T, what's your channel on Twitch? When do you stream? Tell yourself.
I have a schedule, yes.
Do you have a schedule?
It is in the general time of the evening hours on every day, but
what
Tuesday
evening hours?
and Sunday.
What region?
Except
What region?
when I change my days off.
So if you literally have T's stream up as a tab without being paused, that's a good
I'm not
call.
even kidding. They just leave it open.
It's like the first rule for being a streamer: have a schedule.
Yeah, I like break all the rules.
It's okay. T still
How
kicks
people
ass.
can see more personal with you. I'm like, whatever. Just
Yeah,
show
you're
that.
just relatable as a
like that.
person. That's it. You're relatable, and that's the thing. They're like,
schedule.
T will be doing it at some point. She'll be on later. I'll just stick the stream on a tab. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm at twitch.tv/T_the_Khajiit.
Awesome.
Also at Twitter too, where I spend most of my life.
Yeah, this is where I tried to contact T if I'm going to try and contact T. So I tweeting at T. Are you coming to the podcast? Yes, you told me 1 p.m. Oh, I told you the wrong time. Sorry about that. Oops. Don't hurt me.
I was so proud
Oh,
of
dear.
my
She was
time zone.
Yeah, you were right.
Adjusting
I was
to.
dead wrong. Okay,
I was
awesome.
right about the wrong time.
It's been great to have you on as well, T. Thanks for coming on for 2019.
Thank
You've been
you
a
for
fair amount.
having me.
Awesome as per usual. And Ninja614, tell us where you are, sell yourself, do all the things.
Well, I have a schedule as well, and most of the time it's fairly good. I stream Tuesday through Sunday, usually starting somewhere between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern. Sunday's my flex day, but like it happens. So just keep a tab open on me and T's channels, and when we're live, you'll see
Squad
it.
stream. Just squad stream.
Yeah.
Squad
At some
stream.
point.
All right.
One of
yeah.
them will be on some point.
Schedules are like
Twitch.tv.
2018.
Yeah, like you're right. I mean, I'm either watching Twitch or streaming Twitch, so at some point I'll be on. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Ninja614. Also got a YouTube channel that in 2020 for real this time. I have some new content coming out that is streamer related. So if you're a streamer and you're
Nice.
interested in streaming and you would like to hear my my tutorials to start is a 3-part series on demystifying the settings in OBS Studio and Streamlabs OBS. So that sounds interesting to you. I'll help you determine what the settings should be for you based on your setting, because I could tell you what I use, but that only applies to the situation that I'm in, and your situation might be different. So how do you figure out what your settings should be? I'm going to attempt to help you figure that out. So that's coming as well, and that's YouTube/Ninja614 as well. And I'm also on Twitter. We've covered that a few times on this podcast.
I mean, do you want to remind us what your issue is?
It's
with that?
Ninja_614 because some guy got banned with Ninja614 in like 2012, and Twitter won't let me have it. So
Feel sad, man.
it feels
Again.
sad, man.
Are you fun? Maybe we should.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need a petition.
Yeah, we need a petition. Okay. All right, people. Thank you very much as well, mate, for coming on. You've been on again several times this year. It's been great to have you as well here to give us your opinions and discuss the things of Elder Scrolls Online and Twitter misgivings. Okay, so guys, thanks so much for watching. A little bit about myself quickly as well. I'm producing this podcast every 2 weeks. It might change. It might actually switch to a weekday from now on as well, rather than a Sunday, because I think I kind of like Mondays. I kind of like Mondays, so it might switch to a Monday. It gives me a little bit more time to do things and doesn't get in the way of subathons and stuff. So yeah, maybe we'll change that to a different day. So you might see this on a different day. We're on VOD on YouTube, or listening to it on Spotify or iTunes or wherever else. But otherwise, I'm Jebro.
It's also not on my day off.
Ah, there you go. Yes, that would be good. But then it might interfere with your schedule, which doesn't exist.
That's fine.
So-
I'll figure it out.
All right then. Well, that's duly noted. So twitch.tv//Jebro Unity is the stream. You can also check it out on YouTube. I've had a YouTube channel for quite a long time. That's where I started, but it's not very active. If you want to go there, you can have a look at that. It will hopefully get some updates maybe in 2020. Who knows? Twitter is Jebro Uni as well. And as well as the podcast, which is on Anchor as well, .com/Jebro. So if you want to check that out and all the past episodes, you can listen to it on Anchor as well as on YouTube, Twitch, VOD, Spotify, and iTunes. Thank you for joining us for the level for episode 21 for the Elder Scrolls Online podcast, the new
Level 21.
21. It's almost like that. I hope you've had a good 2019 as well with the game. We'll see you in 2020 in a couple of weeks' time, where we'll start to talk about Skyrim and future, what we think's coming. I don't know what the hell the subject's going to be, because 2020 is pretty open right now. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And these guys, no doubt, will be back as well, as per usual.
Bye, buddy.
See you later. Thanks for watching
Bye.
and listening.